You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey guys, it's Ray from the Teach Better team, and I am so stoked that we are finally, and when I say finally, I mean finally, releasing this bonus episode of Chad's Keynote at Teach Better 19. I have to tell you, Teach Better 19, for me personally, was a complete whirlwind. I mean, holy cow. Putting together a sold-out conference in the middle of parent-teacher conferences and everything else that goes on in November was crazy. I don't think that I did nearly as much as Jeff Gargis, although I would never, ever let him know that he truly rocked the show in putting that together. But these keynotes were something extremely special because it not only allowed us to continue to celebrate the amazing speakers that chose to be a part of this event, but allowed our audience to really get to know our team as, people. Chad did an amazing keynote that you're going to hear in just a moment, all focused on the Teach Better mindset. And to be honest, I knew he was going to kill it, but holy cow, did he blow it out of the water. One of my favorite things, and this is truly, honestly, one of my favorite things that I love about listening to Chad speak anytime I'm able to hear him is his ability to get a laugh in the crowd. I really think this keynote was kind of he's like the comedian of education. It was so funny. I know that you won't be able to see it in his keynote, but he was running up and down the stage. He was crouching down to the audience for dramatic effect. I think you can hear a lot of it in his voice, but I hope you just really envision all that this conference was. So to set the setting straight as you listen to his keynote, this is a packed house. I would say standing room only, but there truly was almost not even room for standing room. We had a ton of people who didn't have chairs that were sitting on the floor. Everyone, I think, in there was taking photos or live streaming, and Chad rocked the house talking about the Teach Better mindset. I hope you enjoy it.
When these words came out of my mouth, it was one of the worst days of my career and my life. I had become the one thing I never wanted to be as an educator. I had become the enemy of my students. I had become the worst version of myself. This was one of the hardest days I ever had as a teacher. And as I kicked out that student for what I can't even remember, I can't even explain how much I wished I could take those words, grab them, and put them back in my mouth and do it all over again. This was a moment that I wish would have never happened, but in hindsight, I'm glad it did. Because this is the moment that I realized something had to change. This is what I felt like during the worst year of my life. This is probably what I looked like on an average Wednesday evening after school. I don't look like that guy. Wait, hold on, wait. Is that better? So that's probably more accurate of what I looked like. But this was during one of the hardest years of my entire teaching career. I'd been moved to a brand new school. I had two brand new first-year principals that were trying to build a culture in a school whose 50% of their students didn't fill out the paperwork right. We were literally building the plane while it was flying. I was struggling every single day. Now, if you've had a month, a day, or a whole year like the one I'm describing, you probably know what I'm talking about. Most of the teachers I talk to always respond with, yeah, I'm having that year this year, or I had that year last year. We've all had those years. And this was the year that almost did it for me. I was burnt out. I was done. I didn't have anything left to give. Every single day was a struggle. You guys ever get that feeling when you pull into the school parking lot and your stomach starts to grumble and you kind of have to give yourself that pep talk like, we can do this. You got this, buddy. Just go in there. They're just 13-year-old children. Even though that one's like 18, I think he's been held back a few times. And I'm pretty sure the principal won't let them physically assault you. Come on, buddy, you got this. You can do it. That was every single day. And I'd go home every single day with the zombie walk as I walked through my door. You know, and you guys know you got your bag on your thing and it just like plops on the ground as you walk into the door. I'm gonna grade tomorrow, and then you don't touch it till like Sunday. Monday morning. That checked one of those green boxes on that slip that Tiffany did. I recycled that one. I was done. I was just so done. I started to see problems in my classroom that I'd never seen before, on a scale that I'd never seen before. Now, all these things sometimes happen, but I was seeing them like a tsunami of these problems as they stacked up in my classroom. My students had zero ownership. You guys ever felt like you cared more about like every student's success than they did? Just pick up the pencil. Just, come on. Just pick it up. Please. You got to wake up first, though. Okay? There's a complete lack of engagement. My students weren't having fun. I wasn't having fun. And it was just like miserable from both ends. I had the lowest scores in achievement I'd ever had as a teacher. And I was failing to meet the needs of all my students. I was frustrated. I was stressed. I was having more management issues than I'd ever had. And I thought I was like pretty solid at management. You ever have your whole world turned upside down when you're like, yeah, I feel pretty good. Oh my God, what happened? I thought I was good at this. I was stressed. As teachers, we know one thing. When we get stressed, we don't keep the stress at school, right? I was ready to quit teaching. I was done. So I wasn't just keeping all this stress at school. I was taking it home. I was surviving every single day. And when I say surviving, you guys know what I mean by that? I mean just like literally, when is the bell gonna ring? Is that clock slow? Is there some sort of time vortex in my classroom door? I should call NASA. I don't think this is accurate. There's no way it's only been 10 minutes. I was literally, if you're laughing, you've been there. I was surviving, scraping, and clawing my way through every single day. I was feeling it. My colleagues were feeling it. My family was feeling it. At the end of this year, I was spent. I was done. I thought about quitting teaching. I talked to some colleagues. I talked to other teachers, talked to my principal. I even talked to my family. That's my really beautiful family, by the way. I also have a super excited teenage son. If he knew I had that picture up there, I'm going to tell him after the conference. Like, I got to show you. I just showed 250 people this picture of you. This is going to be amazing. And he'd basically give me that same face and be like, whatever, I don't care. Does anyone have teenagers at home? Like, this is like my life right now. I have little ones too that give me hope for humanity. That's okay. I love my son. I don't want you to think that I don't love my son, but he is a teenager. I'll just sidebar. You ever think that because you taught an age group that you should be able to parent that age group really well? I was sitting here as he was growing up. I'm like, I got this. You just wait. When he gets to middle school age, I'm on it. And then they get there and you're like, nothing's working. I'm going to count to 3. If you can hear me, clap once. Hey, baby's not listening. I don't understand. I got nothing else. It's all you. It's all you. It's all you. So I talked to the people that meant most to me. I was going to quit. I was done teaching. A career change was not like, it wasn't the best timing. And, at the time, McDonald's was not hiring managers. Some of you just read what was on the sign. That was really funny. So I decided to recommit myself to teaching. I decided to recommit myself to the idea that I could be a great teacher again, that I could reach my students again, because I could be the educator they needed me to be. I decided to commit myself to better. And I didn't really know the gravity of that at the time. But I knew that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and expect different results. I believe that's Benjamin Franklin's definition of insanity, right? I couldn't keep doing what had worked in the past. I had to be better. Something had to be different. So when I started to think about what that meant, I started to break down what teaching was to me. I started to think about my planning and how I could make it more effective and targeted for students. I started thinking about engagement and how I could make my students excited about learning. I thought about ownership so that my students could own and be accountable for the learning and the work and the efforts they were putting in every single day. I thought about grading and management and parent communication. One of my biggest aha moments is when I started thinking about pacing and mastery. I also thought about building relationships, because when you're having a hard year like the one I just described, smiling at your students becomes a chore. I was done. I needed to be better for myself, for my family. As I started correcting these things, this is a lot of stuff. I think we all agree with that. You can't change all of these things overnight. So I started focusing on one thing at a time. One thing I could be better at today than I was yesterday. One thing that I can be better at this week than I was last week. Maybe I can grade more accurately. Maybe I can smile more. Maybe I can build a better relationship. Maybe I can foster a better experience for the learners in my classroom. Maybe I can be a better colleague. There's going to be so much content at this conference today. You are going to have the opportunity to be better in any area you want to be as a teacher. As I made these changes, they started to build. I started to feel better about myself. And they allowed me to create instructional frameworks that I now get to share and help students thrive with across the country. These frameworks and these other components have allowed us to build classrooms that are colorful, that are exciting, that students love to be in. These weren't gigantic shifts. They were small steps. And I want you guys to think about what steps you're going to take. What are those steps that you can take today? Not tomorrow, not next week, not next school year. when I get used to my new curriculum or the new standards. Right now, I want you to think about that. As I started to change my classroom, it started to impact my students. If you've heard me speak before, you've been to one of my trainings, you may have heard this story. I had a student named Jesse, and Tiffany mentioned students we've given up on. I'm pretty sure the entire school system gave up on Jesse. He was the student whose name you knew, like before they came to your classroom. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like from 3 grade levels below? Like who pulled that fire alarm? Who punched who? Who threw why are the cops here? Oh, it's Jesse. Oh, okay. His name became synonymous with failure, with trouble. And when I started to make these changes, let Jesse work at his own pace, give him the help he needed, allow him to retake assessments when he failed, get him help with reading. Because something else I didn't realize about Jesse was in 7th grade, he was probably reading at a 1st or 2nd grade level. He was also emotionally disturbed and had operant defiant disorder. So what would happen is he would go into a classroom. He wouldn't be able to read something. He'd get frustrated. He wouldn't be able to control the frustration, so he'd lash out. An adult would try to correct him, and he didn't like being told what to do, so it just made the problem worse. He would literally get kicked out of almost every single class. Another thing I forgot to add was that I had him last period of the day. Right. That sound is the same. Okay. That's the same sound I made when I saw the schedule. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. You can do this, Chad. You can do this. They're just 13-year-old kids. It's going to be okay. So Jesse was last period. And he stopped coming to my class. After I'd made some of these big shifts, I was excited. The grid method was up and running. Kids were working at their own pace. Things were going really well. I was excited because I thought that this might be the key for him to be successful. I think I can give him what he needs now. But then he stopped showing up. He stopped showing up to my class. Now, if you've ever worked in a high needs inner city school district, student transiency is one of the highest issues on that docket. Do you guys agree with this? Yes? My roster would change like every other week, I think, all the time. But I found out after talking to some of my colleagues that he was actually getting kicked out before he got to my class every single day. Just since I had him last period, he wasn't ever making it to my class. You guys with me? So I talked to my team, my colleagues, which were fantastic. And I was like, can I go get Jesse? I'm trying something new. I want to see if this can work. They're like, why would you do that? I got an idea. Leave me alone. Jeez, it's going to be okay. But why? So Jesse, so they were like, yeah, we don't care. That's fine. And then I had to talk to my principal because I was going against school policy, right? I was going kind of against, he'd already been punished. And my principal said, you can go get him. But if you go get him, you can't put him back unless it's a severe issue. Because I don't want you playing, just put him back every single day. It's not worth it. You take him, he's yours for that period because you're going against what he was already. Fair enough. So every single day, now that I'd made these shifts, that I'd committed to being better, every single day, I would go up to in-school suspension. And the words, get the hell out of my classroom, turned into something as simple as, hey, Jesse, you going to work for me today? Come on in. I want you to think about that transformation. This mindset, this shift in my understanding, in this incremental improvement of being better every single day took me from banishing a student for I don't even remember what from my classroom to inviting one of the most difficult students in the school into my classroom every single day. And Jesse thrived in my class. Started to do his work. He started to trust me. I started to build a really positive relationship with him. He was so successful that report cards came out. And I got a call down to the office. This happens sometimes, right? Like after you release grades, you start getting the emails and the calls. You guys know what I'm talking about. They're like, Jesse's mother's here to see you. So I'm sitting there like racking my brain, just being like, oh, what am I going to get yelled at for? As I walked into the office, Jesse's mother gave me the largest hug that an adult woman had ever given me, other than my wife or my mother. And I hugged her back, but I did the don't get a lawsuit hug. I don't know if you guys know this. Now she was bear hugging like it was on. So she's right here. I did like the lean away too. So I'm just sitting here like, hi, how's it going? And she kept on repeating herself. She goes, Jesse got a B. Jesse got a B. Jesse got a B in your class, Mr. Ostrowski. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. And she goes, but he got a B. He got a B. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She pulls me away and she gets real serious. She looks straight at me and she goes, you don't understand. My son, he gets a lot of things. He gets detentions. He gets suspended. And he has me coming up here at least twice a week. But my son, he's never gotten a B. I looked at this child's mother and I said, he can now. Because all it takes is the right environment. All it takes is the right opportunity. And I want you guys to be that opportunity for your students. Because when I was telling that story, you weren't thinking of the name Jesse. I guarantee you every single person in this room was thinking of a student that is in their class right now. How many of you have a name in your head that is not Jesse? There are Jessies in every classroom. Every single one of us has kids that we don't feel like are worth it, that think that the world has given up on them, that if we just give them the opportunity, if we just be a little bit better, can thrive in our classrooms, can feel successful in our classrooms. You can be that opportunity. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's about being a little bit better every single day. And better doesn't mean perfect. I want to be very clear about that. There's no such thing as perfect as far as I'm concerned. Because if you think you're perfect, you're wrong and you've just stagnated. Better means a constant focus on being a little bit better at the small things, the big things, the everything, every single day for your students. The saying that we have on the Teach Better team is that we want you to be better today than you were yesterday and be better tomorrow than you were today. And I want you to think about this saying, because when you're having a really, really bad day, I want you to think about the worst day that you've ever had as a teacher, or maybe this week, or maybe this month. And I want you to think, could I have been better? Could I have changed one thing? Could I have managed that situation better? Could I have graded that assignment better? Could I have instructed that lesson better? What are those small changes that can make you better today than you were yesterday? And better tomorrow than you were today? Because every single one of you has the opportunity to be better today. Because you are here. You have made the commitment. You have paid the registration. You have traveled from all those places that were up on the map earlier. You are here. I hope you're ready. Because that's what I want to know. So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better. And I'm going to tell that by how loud you can get. I want you to get as loud as you possibly can. And I'm going to ask you one question. Are you ready to teach better? Okay, let's try that again. Because that was pretty good. Are you ready to teach better? I'm so excited to be here. Let's get out there and teach better.
Hey, what's up, podcast? It's Jeff. Thanks so much for listening to this bonus episode of Teach Better Talk, which was Chad Ostrowski's keynote address at the 2019 Teach Better Conference in Akron, Ohio. I wanted to jump on here because I wanted to make sure you all know that I listened, and I know what Ray said at the beginning of this, and that's that I did more work than her. And I just wanted to make sure you were aware that I'm aware that she knows that. So let's just let it be settled there. As you know, you can always get all our free resources and more podcast episodes and all kinds of free downloads that we have, including ebooks and checklists and posters and gamification badge kits, all kinds of cool stuff over at teachbetter.com. So make sure you check that out. We also have a lot of free courses over at teachbetteracademy.com, and all the information for the 2020 Teach Better Conference, which is happening October 2nd and 3rd, 2020 in Akron, Ohio. That can all be found at teachbetterconference.com. And until next time, let's get out there, let's teach better.